My name is Sergeant Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald. First name Cameron, Cameron.
Can you just tell me what your billet is, Sergeant?
My billet's a shop chief for motor team maintenance. Do you want a description as well?
And how long have you been with 1-4?
I've been with 1-4 for a little over 2 years now.
Can you just explain to me on what you guys did today?
Today it was a squad competition, and it was primarily based on the abilities for the squad leaders to lead their teams, given 5-paragraph orders, and then all the little subsections that go with that in order to move them through various checkpoints. We had a total of 7 checkpoints along the trail, which the trail went up through the mountains, the hills back here. And at each checkpoint was some sort of challenge. Like the first one was burpees. You do 30 of those, and then you move on to the next checkpoint with different hills and stuff in the middle. And some of them, though, were mentally challenging. After you've been fatigued and running and trying to round up the troops and keep them motivated, you'd get a paper, a skeleton of the OSMEAC, the 5-paragraph order, and you'd have to fill in the blanks, and then the MET-TC. So overall, it was a really good training. I definitely feel like this is one of the better challenges I've had in my Marine Corps career so far. I always feel like when Marines are pushed past the limits that they never knew existed, they're stronger and better for it in a heartbeat. Especially when you see one guy that's hurting, and then he just starts to move his legs just a little bit faster because he's pushing through. The rest of them, before you know it, are all in a dead sprint to the end. So as far as teamwork and leadership, I felt like it was definitely a step in the right direction.
How physically tiring was it?
It was very physically challenging. I've done plenty of hikes out here with 1-4. Never had issues with cramps today because we were constantly pushing each other, trying to move as fast as we physically could. The cramps were really pushing me. So it was good though. Again, I passed those limitations I didn't think I had. So I think we're all stronger for it in the end. Definitely mentally.
How do you think reaching that point and pushing through helps Marines, if they're in a combat environment?
Well, it shows us that even if we destroy ourselves here in garrison through training, that not even the enemy could touch us. We are here as brothers to push each other, to make those limits so high up there that the enemy can't even look in that direction. We're untouchable. So the harder we push ourselves and break our bodies down, our body's just going to grow stronger. Same with our mind, and then our limits are just they're gone. There are no such thing as limits. We go anywhere we want to.
What were you most impressed with your squad?
Really, I was impressed with we're all in an extreme amount of pain, thirst. It always seemed like you couldn't keep enough water down. But the Marines, every single one of them, would just push each other. There wasn't any negative commentary, which I was expecting when you're starting to get physically challenged. You start to get quick to bite other Marines. But I see none of that. I didn't see any fear. After the next hill and the next hill, they just kept pushing like they're never going to stop. And in turn, that motivated myself, and it was just kind of like a never-ending circle, and that's how we made it here.
About how much gear were the Marines carrying?
I'd say there's about 20 to 30 pounds in the day pack, and then with the plate carrier and the sappies, and then the other miscellaneous things that pertain to their certain billets, I would add another 30, 35 pounds.
Why do you think things like this are important in the Marine Corps?
Well, we've always been training since 1775 that we're responsible for our gear, and our gear is what brings us success in battle. So if we can't even maintain our gear by putting it on our bodies and moving it, then we're not going to go very far. Unfortunately, technology is a great thing, but it has a tendency to fail. So that's why you got to have brilliance in the basics in order to succeed.
moving towards small unit leadership, I was wondering, what is something that you look towards, you look for in a leader?
In a leader, honestly, the biggest thing that I've learned in my career so far is being able to maintain your motivation to keep their motivation up. Because the minute they see you start to hurt as being in that leadership position, they're going to start to lose faith really quick. And the more that they lose faith, the faster morale goes down. So for you to always be smiling, even though when you're in an excruciating, high amount of pain, for you to sit there and say something positive to them. Sometimes you do got to get a little aggressive, but it's just managing your Marines, making sure that they're physically okay, give them that little push so they know that they're okay, that they have not reached their limits. Accountability, and make sure that the Marines have everything that they have that they need to succeed. Gear, food, and water. Make sure that they have anything they might encounter to help them push through.
Well, what are some traits that every NCO should have?
Well, honor, courage, and commitment are obviously my biggest ones. Those are the ones that I harp on my Marines all the time about. We never really stop and think about how much honor, courage, and commitment really impacts our lives and how we treat other Marines and what we do with our own career. If you apply honor, courage, and commitment to your day-to-day life, it'll affect your decision-making skills. And in turn, if you apply those, you'll make good ones. And from good decision-making skills comes the responsibility to lead Marines.
In what ways will a squad leader influence his Marines?
He can do it, like I said, with positive influence, but I think a lot of it is constantly getting them out there when you have downtime, whether it's at the armory, behind Horno, out in the fields, and just going over your knowledge. Like I said before, brilliance in the basics. Keep reiterating everything that you've already learned so it becomes second nature. There is no lag in your mind when you have to make a decision. I feel like that's really important to myself.
If there's anything that you'd like to add about leadership, would you mind filling us in on it?
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is you joined the United States Marine Corps for a reason. You're a man when you walked in that recruiter station and signed that document. So you need to serve your time with dignity and pride, because there will be others that will follow your example. Especially as NCOs, you need to set the example for others to emulate, and that starts with the little guy. It starts with the Lance Corporal aspiring to be a corporal. And for him to start influencing others by just simply what he's doing, the way he wakes up in the morning, cleans his room, goes to work with a clean press uniform, conducts himself in a highly professional manner, treats others with common courtesies and respect. Those are the little things that make the big picture and ultimately influence the society that we have here in the United States Marine Corps.